All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to our SEAC meeting for Monday, October the 6th. And I feel like I just have to say for the record that it's like 30 degrees outside. So we have a record of that and we're all very happy about it. And it has been for the last couple of days. I hope everyone has been enjoying the sunshine, absorb all the vitamin D that we can now, right? All right. Okay, so welcome everyone. So we'll start off with our land acknowledgement and then we'll go through our welcome for everyone this evening. Okay, so the Simcoe County District School Board acknowledges that we are situated on the traditional land of the Anishinaabe people. The Anishinaabe include the Ojibwe, Odawa, and Potawatomi nations, collectively known as the Three Fires Confederacy. We are dedicated to honoring Indigenous history and culture and committed to moving forward in the spirit of reconciliation and respect with all First Nation, Métis, and Inuit people. Okay, so next up we have our statement of beliefs, and tonight we have Superintendent Jacobs for that.
Our statement is based on our belief in respect, leadership, integrity, collaboration, compassion, student-driven services, and the rights of all students to be included. We advocate that all students have equitable opportunities to learn and participate in inclusive school communities. They are supported in developing and maintaining relationships and participating in freely chosen activities and groups that result in a sense of belonging. Students' unique learning styles are recognized and planned for in a caring and sensitive manner, enabling them to learn and participate with dignity and respect. Students' strengths and special education needs are identified and responded to early, as this is paramount to their growth and development. Based on best practices and research, the Simcoe County District School Board will adopt proactive, innovative practices to promote individual student capacities and gifts while addressing their special education needs. Education services are delivered using a collaborative and flexible process centered on the strengths and needs of the students, inclusive of family, school, and community, and based on the best learning outcomes for the student. The student's voice is key to all decisions made on behalf of and with the student.
Thank you very much, Superintendent Jacobs. Okay, all right, so welcome everyone. I did want to say a special welcome to our newest member, Kelly Bell from Empower Simcoe. She's joining us on the committee. Sorry, Kelly, I don't want to put you on the spot. I see your audio was just connecting there and everything, but I did want to give you a moment to just say hello if you wanted. Are you there and set? Like I said, I did just see it connecting audio, so maybe I'll go through my other welcomes and then I'll come back to you if that's okay. Okay, so welcome to our guests this evening. So welcome to Human Rights and Equity Manager Tamina Bokhari. We have Elizabeth Wilshire, System Navigator and Early Resolutions Officer. We have Jennifer French, Special Education Consultant, Christy Cruz, Special Education Facilitator, and Marnie Hermiston, Special Education Facilitator. So thank you all for joining us this evening. And then, oh, there, I think I see you now, Kelly. Welcome. I just wanted to say welcome to the committee. Thanks so much for joining us. I don't want to put you on the spot, but if you want to take a moment to introduce yourself, you can feel free.
Yeah, sure. My name is Kelly Bell, and I am the supervisor, Child and Family Services Supervisor, and replaced Tamara. That was probably coming. So it's me now.
Wonderful. Well, we're excited to have you here. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Right. Okay. So moving on in our agenda. So I would be looking at this time for an approval of the agenda. If I have a mover for that. Do I have someone who'd like to move the agenda? Thank you. Trustee Lloyd, seconded by Kevin Barry. All those in favor? And that carries. Awesome. Thank you. All right. So next I would be looking for a motion to approve the minutes of our last meeting. Do I have a mover for that? Lindsay, thank you very much. And seconded by Kevin. Any questions or comments on the minutes? All right, not seeing any, so I'll call the question. All those in favor? And that carries. Thank you very much. Okay, do we have any declaration of conflict of interest this evening? Not seeing any. All right, so that takes us to A7 on our agenda, presentations. So A is SEAC, A7A, Human Rights and Equity Officer, Tamina Bokhari. So Tamina, please take it away.
Thank you, Trustee Rafiq, and it's a pleasure to be here with all of you this evening. I'm Tina Bakari, Human Rights and Equity Manager with the Human Rights and Equity Office. I have with me Elizabeth Wiltshire from our office, who's our newest member. She is our Early Resolutions Officer and System Navigator, and you'll hear a little bit more about her role during the presentation. I'm going to ask for everyone's patience because I'm going to try and put up the video. And I'm hoping the sound will also come through. So just please bear with me while I do that. I'd like us to watch a video together, and then we'll open it up for questions and comments following the video. Okay. All right, can anyone see my screen there?
Don't see anything.
Okay.
It just says you're sharing your screen, but we don't actually see anything there yet.
Okay. Maybe it's taking a while to come up because it's showing on mine.
It also says to double click to enter full screen mode to me. I don't know if that helps. There we go. It's there.
There we go.
There we go.
Okay. All right. And now I'm going to play. So please just hit thumbs up if you can hear the sound.
Human rights is, geez, that's a good question.
Human rights. Well, that's a tough one. Wow.
I don't even know how to give that a definition.
I would probably have to do a little bit of homework or something.
Yeah, any right that I think just as a normal, human, any.
The rights that humans have.
Oh, that's a very large debate.
Tú le puedes preguntar a 20 personas y te van a dar 20 diferentes opiniones.
Non saprei, è una domanda complicatissima.
It's what you say. Yeah, we just take them for granted that they're there, but we don't even consider what they are.
Human rights are the rights you have simply because you're human. It's how you instinctively expect and deserve to be treated as a person, like the right to live freely, to speak your mind, and to be treated as an equal. There are many kinds of rights. Most apply to a certain group. But human rights are the only ones that apply to absolutely everyone, everywhere. That means kids, old people, poor people, basketball players, garbage men, rappers, teachers, Africans, Indians, Albanians, Christians, Muslims, Kabbalists, atheists, your mom, your dad, your next door neighbor, and you all have the exact same human rights. In other words, they're universal. But the question remains, what are they?
Name the human rights?
What the human rights are?
The right to live,
Equality between all peoples.
Right to religion, the right to...
is there supposed to be a list somewhere I should be aware of?
According to the United Nations, there are a total of 30 human rights, which are usually lumped together and called simply human rights. They're all listed out in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which is the world's most widely accepted document on the subject. But it was a long time. At first, there were no human rights. If you were in with the right crowd, you were safe. If you weren't, well, you weren't. But then a guy named Cyrus the Great decided to change all that. After conquering Babylon, he did something completely revolutionary. He announced that all slaves were free to go. He also said people had the freedom to choose their religion, no matter what crowd they were a part of. He documented his words on a clay tablet known as the Cyrus Cylinder. And just like that, human rights were born. The idea spread quickly to Greece, to India, and eventually to Rome. they noticed that people naturally followed certain laws, even if they weren't told to. They called this natural law, but it kept getting trampled on by those in power. Not until 1,000 years later in England did they finally get a king to agree that no one can overrule the rights of the people, not even a king. People's rights were finally recognized, and they were now safe from those in power. Kind of. It still took a bunch of British rebels declaring their independence before the king got the point that all men are created equal. Which isn't to say he liked the idea, but he couldn't stop them, and America was born. The French immediately followed with their own revolution for their own rights. Their list was even longer, and they insisted that these rights weren't just made up. They were natural. The Roman concept of natural law had become natural rights. Unfortunately, not everyone was so thrilled. In France, a general named Napoleon decided to overthrow the new French democracy and crown himself emperor of the world. He almost succeeded, but the countries of Europe joined forces and defeated him. Human rights was again a hot topic. They drew up international agreements, broadly granting many rights across Europe. But only across Europe. The rest of the world somehow still didn't qualify. Instead, they got invaded, conquered, and consumed by Europe's massive empires. But then a young lawyer from India decided enough was enough. His name was Mahatma Gandhi, and in the face of violence, he insisted that all people of Earth had rights, not just in Europe. Eventually, even Europeans started to agree. But it wasn't going to be that easy. 2 world wars erupted. Hitler exterminated half the Jewish population of Earth in horrifying Nazi death camps. And all told, 90 million people died. Never had human rights been so terrifyingly close to extinction. Never had the world been more desperate for change. So the countries of Earth banded together and formed the United Nations. Their basic purpose was to reaffirm faith in fundamental human rights, in the dignity and worth of the human person. But what were human rights? Were they the proclamations of Cyrus, the natural laws of Rome, the declarations of France? Everyone seemed to have a slightly different idea of what human rights should be. But under the supervision of Eleanor Roosevelt, they finally agreed on a set of rights that applied to absolutely everyone. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights. The French concept of natural rights had finally become human rights. So, in summary, at first, only a few lucky people had any rights, until one of those guys decided, hey, other people should have some rights too, which was great, except not everyone agreed. And it only took a few thousand years of fighting and declarations and more fighting until everyone finally agreed that human rights should apply to everyone. And they all lived happily ever after. Except for one little problem. If people have the right to food and shelter, why are 16,000 children dying of starvation every day? 1 every 5 seconds. If people have freedom of speech, why are thousands in prison for speaking their minds? If people have the right to education, why are over 1 billion adults unable to read? If slavery has truly been abolished, why are 27 million people still enslaved today? More than twice as many as in 1800. The fact is, when it was signed, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights did not have the force of law. It was optional. And despite many more documents, conventions, treaties, and laws, it's still little more than words on a page. So the question is, who will make those words a reality?
I have a dream today.
When Dr. King marched for racial equality, he was marching for rights that had been guaranteed by the United Nations for almost 2 decades. But still, he marched. When Nelson Mandela stood up for social justice in the 1990s, his country had already agreed to abolish such discrimination for almost 40 years. But still, he fought. Those who fight today against torture, poverty, and discrimination are not giants or superheroes. They're people. Kids, mothers, fathers, teachers, free-thinking individuals who refuse to be silent, who realize that human rights are not a history lesson. They're not words on a page. They're not speeches or commercials or PR campaigns. They are the choices we make every day as human beings. They are the responsibility we all share to respect each other, to help each other, and to protect those in need. As Eleanor Roosevelt said, where, after all, do universal human rights begin? In small places close to home. So close and so small that they cannot be seen on any maps of the world. Yet they are the world of the individual person, the neighborhood he lives in, the school or college he attends, the factory, farm, or office where he works. Such are the places where every man, woman, and child seeks equal justice, equal opportunity, equal dignity without discrimination. Unless these rights have meaning there, they have little meaning anywhere.
Okay, all right, we're back. Can everyone see me and hear me okay? All right, so I'll open it up for thoughts, comments, questions about the video. Thanks, Greg, for sharing the PowerPoint. And I know
just
I
say
have seen this a few times, this video. Oh, sorry, with someone, I can't see the people now on my screen.
Tamina, it's Brandy. I was just going to say that I have been lucky enough. I'm on a few committees that Tamina has visited, and we've seen this video. But I'll say what I said last time. It's always very impactful. I've seen it several times and seen it before over the years, and it is always very impactful. I find it really makes me think at the beginning when they ask, what are human rights? Every time I see that, I don't have an answer in my head. I don't have a ready answer for that. And then as we go through, it's just very impactful on so many levels along the way. I think it's a great video for sure. Really get us thinking.
Thank you for that, Trustee Rafiq. Other comments, thoughts? And please just, you can unmute and speak because I can't seem to see hands. All right, okay. Thank you for that. I hope you enjoyed that. It's a lot of history in a short amount of time. And I'm going to share now a little bit about the Human Rights and Equity Office. And Greg, if we can go to the next slide, please. The HREO office, Human Rights and Equity Office, we are here to support the SCDSB in ensuring that everyone's human rights are adhered to, and importantly, that we are developing a human rights culture so that we are also preventing violations of the code. And when I say the code, I mean the Ontario Human Rights Code, which was enacted in 1962. And there are 17 different categories under the code, so 17 different grounds for discrimination. So we deal with all of these issues, as you see on the screen here in our office. The two most recent additions to the code were 16 and 17, which are gender identity and gender expression. Okay, we'll go to the next slide, please. So themes across Ontario, and certainly we're seeing these at our office as well. So racism and anti-Black racism, anti-Indigenous racism, those two are fairly prominent. Islamophobia and anti-Semitism, and over the last couple of years, those have certainly been increased. Certainly disability, and that goes for whether it's employees or students. As well as issues around intersectionality. Those are also very, very prominent. All right, we can go to the next slide, please. So individual versus systemic. So I always get asked this question, so I like to make sure that people understand the distinction. So there could be a specific incident, which may or may not be intentional, and we are not usually looking for intention, we're looking for impact. But when we start looking at something broader, like there's a pattern of incidents, we start looking at our policies, our procedures, our culture, our usual way of doing business. And so we want to make sure we're getting at those broader patterns. We want to make sure, again, that we're preventing and we're really helping the system as a whole improve and, again, develop and maintain that human rights culture. All right, we'll go to the next slide, please. So the HREO, I work closely with the director of the board and the senior team to foster a culture of respect for human rights and equity, identify and address systemic human rights and equity issues, and increase the board's human rights compliance. Next slide. So my office does issue recommendations based on cases that are coming through. My office cases range from all kinds of things, music class issues, prayer space in school, books and certain terminology in books. If you go to the HREO webpage, which is found on the SCDSB site, you will see advisories that my office issues, and those are usually on emerging themes. And there is an advisory for the FA word and the advisory for the N word, for example. There may be more coming, but those help really guide the system when it comes to emerging issues. So the complaint and intake process, there is a form, by the way, on the HREO page. If you go on that, anyone can approach the HREO. It can be staff, student, family member, community member, volunteer, third-party vendor. Anyone in the Simcoe community can connect with us about a concern, a question, an inquiry, a complaint, and every single one of those that comes through is taken seriously. All right, we'll go to the next slide, please. So we do look at corporate-wide impact. We are an arm's length office to the board. So we usually say to individuals to follow the procedures. Like for example, you'll see in the student handbook, you speak to, if there's an issue with the teacher, speak to the teacher, then speak to the principal, then the superintendent. And then is the HREO. But of course, people can contact the HREO any point during that process. And we do now have a systems navigator, an early resolution officer, Elizabeth, who is working with folks who can help people, support people anywhere in that process. All right, I think I've covered everything here. I will go to the next slide. I know we're short of time. So the HREO, we're a small but mighty team. Shannon DeCosta is our Human Rights and Equity Administrator. So when you call the office or email the Human Rights inbox, that's the first person you will speak with is Shannon. She is here in the office at the Ed Center Monday to Friday, 8:30 to 4:30. So you can feel free to drop in as well. And we have Elizabeth. And now, actually, I think, Greg, we can stop sharing the PowerPoint. And I'll turn it over to Elizabeth to talk a little bit more about her and her role.
Thanks, Tamina. Good evening, everybody. Thanks for having me. I am delighted to share this new role with everyone. The Early Resolutions Officer and System Navigator role just started at the beginning of this school year. And I want you all to know that I can offer a safe and confidential space to bring forward matters related to discrimination, harassment, and human rights. It's my goal to create and maintain safe, inclusive, caring, school environments and work environments while promoting and protecting human rights. Please feel free to share my contact information as well as direct links to our office, as Tamina had mentioned earlier, with anyone you think might benefit from our office. While this role is new, and I'm new to it, I'm actually not new to this school board. I started 9 years ago as a social worker, and I also then moved into the management team of the mental health and well-being team and supervised both the social workers and attendance counselors. I'm delighted to be in this role and bring with me my experience, background, and expertise to this role. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Elizabeth. All right, so I appreciate the chance to speak with you tonight. I'll open it up for comments and questions. Kevin.
Sorry, having a hard time unmuting there. You've got a big job. I'm wondering, with staff that size, I mean, the number of human rights issues I encountered just in the special education center could probably keep you guys busy full time. With the demographic changes that are going on in our community, there's all kinds of other pressures that you're going to be dealing with. How are you going to be sorting all these various pressures? And there's going to be a lot of them coming up. Like I know how they do it at the Human Rights Office, how they vet and that they've got full-time people that just sort of explain to people what they can and cannot do. I'm not sure how you're going to handle all that with staff that size, especially at first, because there's a certain amount of pressure built up.
Yes, thank you, Kevin. I appreciate that. We are definitely quite busy at the office, and we are continuing to encourage people to come forward. We really want to make sure that people feel that they have a safe space to come forward, to feel heard. Sometimes like it's a quick question, sometimes it's a conversation, sometimes it could be a full investigation. There's there's a spectrum of how we may respond to anything coming in. But I do want everyone to know that every single, reach out to our office is taken very seriously, and it's held in the highest confidence. I describe, and my staff know this, brick wall around the office. We don't discuss these matters. We want to make sure people feel safe to come forward. It doesn't feel good to ever think that your rights are violated, and it's really important that people come forward and we have an opportunity to review the matter. To see whether there is a violation or a potential for a violation, and how can we address it and get better. The more that we can address the systemic pieces, right? So when we start seeing the patterns, and I do issue recommendations to the director and the associate director and the senior team based on what's going on. And so when we can get at the root cause, we can prevent a lot of the future cases, right? So that's sort of how we help our workload, is by making sure that we're capturing things at the systemic and root level, and preventing more and more, people from experiencing, that harm or the negative consequence of whatever that may have been.
Thank you. One little follow-up from what you just said. Protecting human rights is not so much about legislation, it's about culture, right? You have to get people thinking in a certain way. So yes, the systemic things are really what you're after. So what I'm really interested in, I think it's a great idea, because I do a lot of advocacy work trying to avoid having to go to filing a formal human rights complaint. And there kind of needs to be another level to bring it to before things get really ugly. So that is great. But what the board, I feel, has really lacked is the data, right? You get the calls in, what kind of data tracking capabilities do you have? Probably none at first, because you're brand new. But I think that may be where you could help the board the most, by being able to track the data of what's happening. Is it getting better? Is it getting worse? Where do the pressures seem to be coming from in real numbers? And so that when it comes out, people like us that from the various agencies and can say, we are or we're not going where we're supposed to be going, or where we wanted to go, right? And I think that's what will, in the end, reduce your workload, is if we can actually get data so we know if we're going in the right direction. Because words are really nice, but you can say the same thing over and over again without the data to prove you're actually getting anywhere. I'm not sure how useful it is. Thanks.
Yes. Yeah, no, thank you, Kevin. That's a really good point. What I also always say to folks is that a human rights and equity culture, a human rights and equity organization is not one where nothing ever goes wrong, but one where the right processes get triggered when the wrong things occur, right? So are the right systems in place? And the Human Rights and Equity Office is part of that mechanism and part of the SCDSB holding itself accountable. And as you said, Kevin, to before things get really bad, right? Because we want to prevent things, right? So that's why we say people can reach out anywhere in that process of conflict resolution, because we want to have no harm, and we want to lessen the harm if there is, and we certainly want to prevent more people from having that kind of harm. So absolutely, we're collaborating with the various departments, including our research department, and we do various surveys of our students, of our staff. It's ongoing to see how we can make sure that we are looking at human rights in a way that's going to be helpful to the board moving forward in terms of policies, APMs, et cetera, future, programs, et cetera. So that is definitely, on our radar, and it's ongoing.
I just wanted to add that you're not that new anymore either, right? What year?
The
I was
office
just trying to
is
think.
not,
2022, 21? What year was?
yes, the office is now in its third or fourth year. Yes.
I know when we started our term as trustees in 2022, the end of 2022, Manager Bakari was there and running her department. So at least since then. So time goes fast. Fast.
Yes.
Wonderful. All right. Does anyone else have any questions or comments for our guests? All right, not seeing any at this time. Well, thank you both so much for joining us. Very much appreciate it. Always an important discussion to be having, and I look forward to future visits and updates from you as well.
I did have one other.
Oh, sorry, Kevin, I didn't see. Go ahead, please.
That's all right. Do you issue any reports at all from your office?
Yes, so we provide an annual verbal report to the board. So we just did that at the last board meeting. And I do provide internal reports regularly, and that's usually when I'm advocating for a certain policy change or making recommendations based on cases that the office has seen.
And there were no public reports made? Because
There would be the annual board report, and then there would be anything that would be on our HREO public site, which would include the advisories and any other pieces of information.
Great, thanks.
Sorry, I was muted. Sorry, I missed you there, Kevin. Anyone else? I want to make sure I didn't miss anyone else. There's lots of people on the screen today, so everyone's very tiny. All right. I don't think I see any further questions or comments. All right. Well, thank you both for joining us. Like I said, it was great to have you here.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.
You too. Thank you. All right. Oh, sorry, Greg. No. Okay. I thought you were waving at me. Sorry.
I was just waving good night, goodbye
Oh.
if they were going to leave.
That would make a lot of sense. Okay, sorry, moving on with our agenda then. All right, so next up on our agenda, we have SEAC A7B updates to SCDSB special education 2025-2026. So we have Jennifer French and Christy Cruz, who I introduced at the beginning there. And then I'm sorry, am I going straight to them or? Yes. Okay, coming straight to you guys. Go for it. Thank you.
Thanks. So I am Jennifer French. I'm the special education consultant that supports the Innisfil area of schools as well as the Bradford area of schools. And my portfolio is IEP Online and IEPs. And Christy, if you want to
And hi, I'm Christy Cruz. I'm special education facilitator, and I support the Collingwood Collegiate and Stainer Collegiate family of schools. And I'm also on the IEP Online and IEP portfolio.
So we're actually pretty excited to come back again. We had presented, I believe it was 2 years ago, on the parent portal and how we were trying to improve and to support communication through the parent portal between families and guardians and the school. And since then, we've been working really, really hard to expand that. And we are now focusing on not just communication, but also supporting transparency between school and home and consistency between all of the boards so that it is a similar experience, whether you're in the south, the north, elementary or secondary, as much as we can make it consistent. Obviously, there are some differences between secondary and elementary, but there are some things that we can and have made consistent. And so we're going to just go through a few of those things that we've done. So
So we have 2 agenda items tonight. The first we'll talk about some upgrades that have been made, upgrades and updates to the IEP online program that teachers use to create IEPs for students. And we'll also talk about some new documents that have been created and sort of some of the new messaging within those documents for special education in Simcoe County District School Board. And the goal of those updates really is positively impacting students and families through consistency, communication, and transparency.
So just as a reminder, when we introduced the parent portal those few years ago, it was a method, a way to send documents that are housed and created in IEP Online. It was a way to send them to parents and guardians in a secure and safe email system. But the bonus was that it could also work the other way. So parents could sign the IEPs and send back to the schools. They could fill out the parent consultation forms, send them back to the school. So that was sort of the main purposes of the parent portal. We, when it was first introduced, did I guess what you would call a soft start, where the first year was, it's best practice to do it, maybe try one term. And then the following year, it was now the default communication. So now this is the way, unless families do not have the technology, we can still access the paper versions of things. So that's okay with that way. But now we are telling schools that this is the method using the parent portal. And again, one of just a couple of the benefits that are important for families and for students is that instead of having to take the time to print all the IEPs, take them to the principal, get the principals to proof them, sign them, go back, do the edits, get them signed again, or the second time if they weren't signed the first time for their edits, then send them home to parents, then try to get the student to make it home in the bottom of their backpack. I used to get some pretty crumpled papers back, and then get it signed and sent back to us. So now it's a simple email, goes to the parents access the documents on their end of the parent portal, and it comes back to us. So now we have more time as special education teachers to deal with the students in our class. We're not just focusing on the paperwork aspect, getting that done. And also, it does save on paper. So that does allow the schools to have some extra funds in their budgets for other things for the students that will benefit them. And the last one, and we've seen an increase every year of better parent engagement with the school. So we are absolutely on the right track with the parent portal. And so now we've made some improvements to the parent portal and to IEP Online. We want to go to the next slide.
Okay,
Oh, sorry. Nope, you go ahead. I'm wrong.
So a new update, recent update is there is now a way for admin and for school staff to search their entire school list to see what students have SNC records. So this is really helpful because not every student that has SNC records will have an IEP. So previously, this was harder for staff to track if there was staff turnover or if a student moved. The staff would have to go into the SNC records to see if there was something there. So this is a really great new addition to IEP Online. So the staff can search and see who in their entire school has an SNC record. So no students are being missed. This also allows admin to be able to search for which SNC records are unlocked, which is helpful just to ensure that those SNC notes are being reviewed and that they're being locked in a timely manner. And some additional updates. There's now a signature line for administrators on the SNC record. So previously it was best practice for administrators to initial the SNC record before it went into the OSR, but now there's actually a signature line on the paper copy. There's also a way for administrators to sign digitally on IEP Online. And this just really ensures that admin are reviewing, they're being informed, they're a part of the discussions around the students' programming and around their IEP. And in addition, there's new best practice messaging around inviting parents or guardians to meetings or sending home the SNC records for families and guardians to review. So this just is building better partnership to support our students. An additional upgrade to IEP Online. So firstly, just that the accommodation lists were updated over the summer. So just reducing any repetitive accommodations or any accommodations that were categorized in the wrong category, adding additional accommodations that were needed. But the more important part of the upgrade was that this additional notes section was added. So this allows for individualization on the IEP. So you can take a more generic accommodation such as adaptive equipment, furniture, seating, and you can add the staff can add in details of what does this look like for this individual student. Is this a hokey stool? Is this elastic bands around the chairs? Is this a cushion? So what are the specifics tailored to the student's specific needs? So that's an optional text box that can be added in to allow for individualization to the student's IEPs.
So one of the other things that we've done together is created and or edited some new and or recent documents to really ensure that the messages in our board were consistent. And if somebody, was looking for what is that consistent message, they were better able to find the document. And again, that's in the end helping our students in our classes. So if you want to go to the next one. Thanks. The first one is a document that talks about the SNC best practices in our schools. And it is providing each school with the number of SNCs based on placement that students should have, the new messaging that parents should at least know about a meeting that's happening, or even better, be invited to the meeting, and then to send home the SNC meeting records so that we are, again, moving that communication forward and we're being transparent with parents. These are the things that were discussed and we're sharing those with you. Right now, for this year, we are saying best practice. If you can send it securely digitally, great. If not, a paper copy for this year. And then we are now going to be looking into a more digital way in the future to do this. So we just want parents to either attend our meetings and have input in our meetings, or at least know what the recommendations and the discussion were. And the second thing that we're pretty excited about is what we've called the Special Education Handbook. And again, this is supporting the students with consistency between schools, between teachers, between areas, and also, like I said earlier, secondary and elementary, where possible. And so we're just giving you a flavor of it. It is a list of numerous links that staff can go to find out information if they want to know how to write a baseline. They can go to the section A, which is writing IEPs and best practices, and that will give them the board's messaging and best practices for doing that. Same with transition plans and modified plans, alternative goals. All of those questions and answers are in there. And as I said, they don't have to go scrolling for it. They click on the link. It takes them right down to the page that the information is on. And so section B focuses on IPRCs and best practices. Section C is the strengths and needs, best practices. The section D is general special education messaging. So right now that could be reporting, report cards, our MLL and special ed population. And then section E is the technical support for IEP Online. So staff don't have to waste their times, I'll call it waste, searching for documents or answers to the how-to questions. How do I bulk print my IEPs? How do I get my principal to put their signature on the IEPs? How do I bulk send the consultation forms home? So that is all there in section E for staff to look at. We're calling it the one-stop shop for everyone. And yeah, we're just hoping to, with those documents, to streamline everything to benefit our families and our students in our class. So those are our big new things for this year. Is there any questions? Kevin Barry.
I have a whole bunch of them. First, thank you very much for finally having text boxes in the accommodations. It's been driving me nuts since this program came in, which was got to be a decade ago now, I guess. One thing I'm worried about, or I'm wondering about, this is all electronic now, but the OCR, the OSR, the Ontario Student Record, is a paper document or a paper mass. So are we printing all this stuff out and sticking it in the folder, or are we ever thinking about actually digitizing the OSR?
So at this time, we are still using the OSR as the formal holding place. I can't speak to where we're going to be going in the future, but you are correct that things are becoming more digital, and we are finding different, ways to hold that information. So I wouldn't be surprised, but right now everything still goes in the OSR.
Okay, and finally, this handbook, inside the handbook, it looks like it's geared towards staff.
The handbook?
Yeah, that you've got inside the handbook. General special education messaging, strengthening committee best practices, that part. Mm-hmm. Is it available to the public?
So right now it's just an in-house board document. But I would like to address, you said it's for staff and to support staff, but if the staff are using this document, it talks about best practices for IEPs, good goals. What are SMART goals? You know, the how to do a good IPRC presentation, how to write a good SNC. So yes, it's meant for staff. It's a in-house document, but it is meant to support the students.
So in other words, parents do not have access to that information.
At this time, they don't.
Because I find that a bit problematic. I find that a bit problematic.
Yeah, I'm not sure parents would understand a lot of because it's geared to the IOL, IEP program, and the how-tos for that piece, for like in terms of SNCs, IPRCs.
Sorry, I'm just going to jump in there as chair. It does look like Superintendent Jacobs would like to respond to that question as well.
Yeah,
Okay.
and so we are going to be working on so first of all, I want to thank Christy for the good chunk of their time. More time than what I think we allocated for them to work on this project. It is a 32 page kind of interactive document. But a lot of the work that they did, I think, is going to fuel changes to the special ed plan. And I think it'll also update the Parents Guide to Special Education as well, because there's a lot of good that came out of it. And again, the motivation was, again, Director Stevens has said, like, we want to get consistency. We've had a lot of new people come into the role of vice principal, people new to the role of principal, but just a lot of people from other boards as well that have joined us. And so different perspectives. And so we wanted to have it for staff right now on the staff website, so that they can go in there. And we're going to be rolling out some professional development through school leaders meetings and other PD opportunities to kind of unpack it. There's a lot in there, but we will definitely use a lot of the stuff that's in there to help update the special education plan and the Parents Guide to Spec Ed. So, and I know that I've been speaking, for instance, with Trustee Rafik about, for modified day, that's come up in discussion, and it's not explicitly in special ed plan or Parents Guide to Special Ed, so something like that. So we are looking at these revisions coming to those areas.
Can I just add on to that? And in fact, we are currently working on the Parents Guide to Special Education now. So that'll be coming and being updated soon.
Great. Okay, Kevin, did I see you had something else there?
And I'm sorry if I sounded like I was jumping on anybody there, because that wasn't the intent. I think the project is fantastic. I'm absolutely thrilled. But it's SEAC's job to advise on the special education plan. And if we're going to advise on it, it's kind of hard to do that if it becomes to us as a fait accompli after you've input all this data into it. Could SEAC get some of this information to review as to what these best practices are? Do we agree with you about
absolutely. As you're saying that, I'm thinking this guide is what staff are going to use in order to follow the special education plan, right? So we're going to be updating the special education plan, and this document is just to support that special education plan.
But the document is out before the special education plan.
We're just in process for rolling it out and unpacking it. There's a lot in there, so we're actually going to start that journey tomorrow, but we want to unpack it first with a lot of our school leaders, principals and vice principals. So we have a school leaders meeting tomorrow for principals, and so we're going to start this unpacking process, but we want to have a chance to kind of develop it with them first.
All right,
and then bring it.
I'd like to see it before we're already there writing the
spec ed plan.
Spec ed plan, yeah. But I think what I'm hearing sounds great. So I'm very positive, in spite of the fact that I'm jumping all over everybody.
We don't take it like that.
I've known you for a long time. It's all good. I know.
I was just going to say,
my perception either.
I was just gonna say, I think all of us know you well enough, Kevin, that that's not what we know. That's not what you're doing.
Yeah.
I'm seeing lots of nodding around here. Everyone knows you, Kevin. Wonderful. And then, sorry, Megan, I do see your hand just pop up, but I did see Andrea's up before, and I want to make sure I'm not skipping anyone there. I know this discussion's gone a little bit long, but Andrea, please feel free.
It's fine. My question was going to be, and I don't know, it might be something maybe Jennifer that I could take offline with you at another time. I have a family on my caseload. Kiddo lives out of home. Parent guardian is saying that they're not getting the documents through this system. And so I just wanted to ask, is there an accommodation for, like, there's an email, but the email and the parent address and the kiddo's address would be different. I just don't know if there's anything that would be glitchy, or this could be a total one-off question, and maybe again we could have a
I will give you the answer, and then if this isn't enough, then we can talk later.
Okay.
IOL, IEP Online, and Parent Portal pulls from Power School. So whoever the contact number 1 is in Power School, that's who it gets sent to.
Okay, that's perfect, because contact number 1 for group home families is going to be the group home.
So
and then this information needs to go to parents. So, okay, so is there any way to, like, equalize, say, contact number 1 and contact number 2?
Christy, yeah, there's
Yes, there
1
is
and
a
2. Yep.
yes. If the staff sends in bulk, it goes to, so if they send in mass, it will go to parent contact number 1. But if there are cases where that document needs to go to 2 households, they can go back in and send it separately. So it would just need to be a request or a communication with the CERT of, we need this to go to both email addresses, and it could definitely be accommodated.
And our teams know who are in group homes, right? Like that's not a shock to us. So they would just know to put in that email to make sure it gets sent.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, Megan, I'm going to come to you. I just want to let everyone know I am keeping an eye on time. I've got kind of our whole agenda here, and I do feel that I can allot us a little bit of extra time for this discussion, and it won't take us over our time. So I just wanted to let you know I am watching, I promise. Megan, please go ahead.
And I'll be very quick. This is just a big thank you to both Jennifer and Christy. This has been a labor of love. They spent a good part of their summer working on this. And I feel like over the last few months, in every one of our team meetings, we've talked about consistency and we've talked about transparency. We really want that clarity of, purpose and support. And this document goes a long way towards doing that. The feedback so far, just in terms of what these supports are from schools, has been really phenomenal. To say that, it's great to know that the process then is the same in all schools in Simcoe County, no matter where you go. And I think that that's a wonderful thing about this. And Kevin, I appreciated all of your points that you brought up to make sure that, we are getting that direction from SEAC about those pieces. So all of these are based on, those current processes and looking for consistency. And the wonderful piece about this being a digital document is it can be, edited as we need to moving forward for all of those things.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Megan. I just wanted to ask, I wanted to make sure I heard something right. So talking about S&C meetings and notifying parents, did I hear that we're hoping they are at least let know about the meeting? I'm just hoping our standard is a lot better than that. I understood our standard to be parents are always invited to an S&C. Am I incorrect there?
So those are the big S&Cs. The ones where we're saying be told about would be if say just by chance the CERT and the teacher were talking, an idea or a strategy came up and they wanted to document that in an S&C. Then they would document that and send it home. We talked about your kid today in class. We came up with a great idea and we just want to let you know about it.
Okay, awesome. But the regular meetings and everything,
they're absolutely invited in person, virtually.
Right. That is what I understood. I just wanted to make sure I had that right then. Thank you very much for clarifying. Appreciate that. Okay. All right. So yes, obviously it's a big project. There's lots to come. There's lots of things it's going to affect. So thank you so much for your work on it. It looks like there's going to be lots more from this for sure. Do we have any more questions or comments before we move on for our guests?
I just want to say, Kevin, I was very excited to see your face because I knew you wanted the accommodations the last meeting we were at, the SEAC. So I'm glad you like it.
Yes, he's been telling us about that for years, and he's correct, right? Thank you very much. Yes, and it shows I have to say, it shows the importance of SEAC, right? Because you have a lot of people here who are working with these documents, working with these families all the time, and there's a lot of people who have great feedback along the way here. So, and different perspectives of things that happen along the way. So, just loved my SEAC committee. That's all. I had to throw that in there too. All right. Well, wonderful. Thank you so much to our guests for all of your hard work along the way and for coming and showing us everything tonight. We really appreciate your time.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. And enjoy the rest of your evening. Okay. All right. So moving along in our agenda. So next up, we have no items for decision. So we're at items for information. I believe Superintendent Jacobs has a quick robot update for us.
Yes, in that vein of responsiveness to SEAC, we just followed up on the robots that we had, and just to see if we could update the software to make them functional. Apparently, the company's no longer in existence, so I don't think we're going to be able to update the software to make them functional. So multiple times have been made to contact the company, and with no success, no response. So that being said, there are some concerns about the privacy aspects too of recording kids without permissions, but we're looking at donating these robots to the robotics program at Banting. So I don't think the robots can be used in a class with students right now because there's just nothing to make them run. So I'm hoping they could use the robots or either figure out how to program them at Banting or to use the parts maybe to support some of the robotics initiatives.
Kevin, I saw you on mute. Go ahead.
Thank you for the response. I'm glad to see that at least they're not going to be sitting and collecting dust, and hopefully they can get some good use. But on the second point, I think we really need to try find a way to work around the privacy issues when it's needed. And we should be working on that now, so when the next contract comes up, we can have a proposal that can be acceptable to all sides worked in. Right? Because there are going to be times where we do need to use technology in the classroom. Where we managed to get through COVID where the cameras were in there all the time and we didn't have a complete breakdown of privacy. We really need to start developing some procedures and policies to deal with those issues. Because we have the technology, we know it works, it did wonders for us during a crisis, but every day individual students are having their own little crisis. We should be able to serve them too.
Okay, thank you very much, Kevin. All right, I guess that's the trouble with emerging technology. When we try new things, if they don't last and work, then we end up with dead technology, unfortunately, sometimes, but it's good that we tried. Okay, all right, so moving along in our agenda here, that brings us to staff reports. So we have Principal Francis with SEAC C2A After School Developmental Programs. Megan, take it away.
Thank you very much, Trustee Rafiq. This, I feel, could be almost like a mini golden buzzer before the golden buzzer comes later on today, because this is always a wonderful and well-received program that it is just easy to share as a good news story. So, obviously you have this report in front of you with all of these wonderful programs that I shared last year, and then happy to do so again this year, about the number of students that we are supporting through fall, winter, spring and summer programming for these programs, and lots of positives that are coming out of these programs. Certainly really wonderful parent response, some wonderful response from students, and continue to have some of the challenges which we are working through in terms of families perhaps not being as familiar with some of the virtual platforms. And so staff are helping to problem solve some of those and some of the technology issues for any of these programs that are virtual. But certainly, lots of really good responses to this. So it is something that we will continue to offer moving forward, and really happy to see that it has been very well received and successful again this year.
Great, thank you very much. As I said, with our summer programs, I'm always impressed at how much we offer and how much work is done and how it's always growing. I think we're supporting our students outside of the classroom and in a lot of really remarkable ways. So thank you very much. All right, do we have any questions or comments for Principal Francis? All right, not seeing any at this time. Thank you very much. Okay, so moving on in our agenda then, so we have no committee reports. So that takes us to SEAC member updates. I know we do have one new member tonight, so I'll just say, Kelly, this is a moment if you have anything to share about your organization, maybe you have any events coming up or just any experiences that you'd like to share with us from your Empower Simcoe perspective, that's a great time to do it. So if is anyone, oh, I saw you unmute there. Do you have anything to share with us this evening?
So I am newer to the program, so I am learning the different programs that are under my portfolio. As for events, though, since you mentioned events, we do have a SIB shop coming available. I'm not sure if everybody knows what our SIB shops are. So we do have one coming starting October 24th. And it is, sorry, I'm just going to pull up the flyer real quick, 9:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. at 40 Fraser Court. And lunch will be provided. And for anybody who doesn't know what SIB Shops is, it is for siblings that have a sibling with an intellectual disability. So they get together, kind of share their stories, and relate to one another, and hopefully leave with some connections and other resources. So that'll be October 24th.
That's great. Thank you so much. And I'll just mention too, you mentioned that you had a flyer there. If you wanted to forward that along to Lori, she will kind of compile all these updates and send them out. And then we as a committee can share them around with even more people. So you can feel free to send that along to her.
Perfect. I will do that. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much. All right. Do we have any other SEAC member updates? Andrea, go ahead.
I'll lower my hand and then look at my notes. So we have a couple of things. So, and Kristen, you may be talking about the CTN Halloween stuff. So we can collaboratively talk about that, or maybe I'll leave that for you because I have something else if you're going to talk about that. So Catalpa is offering collaborative problem solving with Chris Alexiou. I'm not saying his name correctly, and I apologize for that, but I'll send the information for the minutes. And this is evidence-based, trauma-informed approach to helping children develop skills to regulate their own behavior. This is for families, and it's going to be provided Wednesdays from 11 a.m. until 10 a.m. until 11:30 a.m. But as I said, I'll send that out. It's contact person, and then the dates, it starts on the 15th of October. So I will send that out to share with families who might be interested in joining that. And I won't talk about Halloween. I'll let Kristen talk about that. That's all I have.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Kristen, did you have anything to share?
I do. Shocking. No, I do want to talk about the inclusive Halloween events that we have coming up. So in Aurelia, it's the October 22nd. And in Barrie, it's October 30th. And those are both at the Aurelia Common Roof and the Barrie Common Roof. And this is an event that's now, I think we're in our 15th year or something like that. It's been going on for a long time. And it's an inclusive Halloween celebration where kids can sign up. They can, in a calm, safe, sensory-friendly environment, go door to door in our offices and trick or treat. We know that for lots of the kids that we work with, trick-or-treating is challenging, whether it be because of the accessibility of people's front steps or the sensory experience of dark and noise and scary. It can be something that they want to participate in, but they just can't get there. And so this is an event that that we look forward to every year because it is the kids love it, families love it. There is the trick or treating. There's also some games and crafts and other sort of stations set up around the building. So it's always been one of our favorites. I also wanted to share some news about our new electronic system. So we changed our entire shared client record client database at the end of June, which means that the portal that our that the board, that Simcoe County Board refers to, CTN, for school-based rehab, occupational therapy, physiotherapy, and speech language therapy. There's a portal that they do that. It was new in June. Like any new electronic system, we maybe had a couple bumps along the road, but I just had some like unsolicited, I love your new portal feedback from one of the certs in your board, which is always exciting to get that because it is a system where they can see everybody they've referred, they can see who's in service. Hopefully it will sort of eliminate some of the need to pick up the phone and ask questions about who's where and duplicate referrals and all of those things. So we're getting there with our new system.
Thank you, Kristen. That's very exciting.
Thanks.
New changes and are always tough to get through, but they're worth it once you get there, right?
Exactly.
And I always love hearing about the Halloween Halloween sensory friendly events. I remember my days trying to struggle sensory overloaded children into costumes and just how difficult it can be, for sure. So that's wonderful to have another option. Yes. All right. And I did just want to mention, so Liz had to leave, but she does have some Learning Disability Association updates, and she sent those to Lori, and Lori is going to send those along to everyone. So please watch your email tomorrow for the Learning Disability Association updates as well. All right. Anyone else? Any other SEAC member updates at this time? All right, not seeing any. Okay, so moving along in our agenda, that will take us to board member updates. And I believe we have Trustee Powell this evening. Did I lose you? Oh, there.
Yes,
sorry, I lost you on
thank
my
you.
screen for a second.
Thank you, Trustee Rafik, and through you to the committee. We had a great board meeting last month. We had a lot of trustee tributes. We had the Canada-wide Science Fair winners. They won the medal. There were 4 medalists: Anne Bowman, Solomon Kogan, Fatima Azam, and Ariva Shrivastava. And they came and they got their awards, and they showed their videos. It was very nice. And then we had some OPSPA awards also, achievement awards for Emma Ironside from the Forest Hill Public School, and another achievement award for Jeff Toole from the Innisdale Secondary School, and an award of excellence for Mirdad Sefazada. And it was great. Everybody got their awards, pictures were taken. And then we went on to hear about the capital priorities call. And Superintendent Van Nispin indicated, he explained the report, and the board approved the capital priorities list and directed staff to submit the necessary submissions. And we also had an appointment to the SEAC committee, which everyone spoke about, Kelly Bell, and she was appointed that night officially. And that's essentially it. So a very good meeting and a lot of awards. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chair Powell. Yes, lots of awards, and we get to ask for capital projects what we desperately need. So those were definite highlights, that's for sure. Okay, all right. So next up, oh, sorry, Kevin, you had something? Please go ahead.
I saw some of the news releases about the awards, and you just gave everybody's names here, which I think is the proper thing to do. But in the official board email, they did not give the last names of the students who worked so hard to get their awards. Is there a policy that says, they can't be fully recognized, but they can be in this environment? And it was kind of upsetting to me. Like I volunteer as a judge for the science fair at Bear Creek every year. And these kids work so hard on these things, and to see them only as a first name, right, is a little discouraging.
Thank you for that feedback, Kevin. Sorry, Chair Powell, did you have something?
Well, no, I didn't know that. So, I mean, we could look into it. Maybe we could send out another email, but yeah, I understand your position. That's little disheartening, but yeah, their full names were said that night, but I didn't see the email, so thanks for telling us.
Agreed. Thank you. I didn't catch that either. Trustee Lloyd, go ahead. Oh, sorry, Trustee Lloyd, go ahead.
Thank you. I just sort of had trouble unmuting there. I think that's pretty standard across the board that when we're putting out in the media, we do not use the last names. It's related to privacy and protections for online. We've done a lot of work with different agencies related to that. So it's pretty standard across the board that we do not put the last name out. We put the usually the initial in that communication.
Sorry, thank you for that insight as well. Okay, all right. Good there. Okay, so moving on in our agenda, that would take us to our golden buzzer, and I believe we have Principal Francis.
Thank you so much. Lucky me, I get to share what feels like two pieces of good news tonight. I would like to touch back to a golden buzzer from last year, which was our Special Olympics event, and let you know of an upcoming event on November 4th at Twin Lakes in Orillia. We are going to have another Special Olympics Sports Festival, which is wonderful. This was something that we had been asked by SEAC to look at. Can we hold more of these events? What other opportunities can we give to students? And so November 4th, there will be obstacle courses, run and jump activities, field hockey, bocce ball, soccer, basketball. This is open to students in grades 1 to 8. There's going to be calming spaces as well as sensory spaces that are available should those be required. And I know that a good number of our central team are involved in organizing this activity, and we are really looking forward to having something. Obviously we've had the kind of more spring summer events, but to have an inaugural fall event that's happening as well. So just wanted to share that with all of you as some good news and more of that wonderful Special Olympics activity that you've been asking for.
Excellent. That is great to hear. Thank you very much. I'm sure we will look forward to an update after the event as well. Thank you. Excellent. Okay. All right. So we have no correspondence this evening. So next on our agenda is other matters. Does anyone have anything for other matters? Kevin, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll try to keep this relatively brief. I'm getting a lot of feedback about Bill 33, and I was in a provincial meeting for Autism Ontario this afternoon, and it came up over and over and over again. And I think we might want to set some time up to discuss the issue of how it affects special education and what our position is as a board. I mean, very soon the ministry will be coming up with their sort of guidelines as to what they plan on doing with school boards. And I think we might want to get our ducks in a row and let the government know what we feel about this. I mean, there are a few other concerning aspects. I mean, one, the elimination of trustees, which means all of a sudden we just become the board just become a sub-office of the ministry. The other one that caught my attention was basically forcing schools to a provincial standard for police involvement in the schools, as opposed to adapting it to the particular needs of the particular community, which I find is very unsettling, because different communities have very different needs, depending on how and they also have different police forces and different school boards and different relationships that really need to be taken into account. And I think we should probably start thinking about that and maybe putting that on our next agenda, and maybe a motion to get a letter written to the ministry.
Thank you very much, Kevin. And I just want to make sure that everyone's kind of on the same page of understanding. So Bill 33, maybe is that something would that be appropriate, Superintendent Jacobs, if we could send that out to people so that they would understand that, so they see what's coming with Bill 33, the changes to education?
You know what, if it's okay, I will speak to the director's office about Bill 33. I'm not sure, actually, Trustee Lloyd probably has more in-depth knowledge than I do on Bill 33 and where it stands. I know it's very controversial right now. It's in the news daily. I'm just not sure where it stands now.
Yes, I have read it extensively myself, and I'm sure trustees can happily update everyone on it. I just kind of wanted to make sure we were all on the same page before we started that discussion. So I will turn things over to Trustee Lloyd, but Kevin has pointed out two very big points in Bill 33 that we have been talking quite a bit about. The possible elimination of trustees, and then the possible forced inclusion of school resource officers and police back into schools. So, but Trustee Lloyd, please go ahead. Trustee Lloyd is our OPSPA rep. So OPSPA is the Ontario Public School Board Association. So it's essentially our trustee provincial organization, and Trustee Lloyd is our rep there. So she's got lots of information to update us with.
Thank you, Brandy, and through you to the committee. Bill 33, if it passes, it has gone through first reading. It will need to come back to the House for second and third reading when the House reconvenes. It has some if it passes in the current state, it does have some significant powers and changes to the current system. It puts really a lot of control into the hands of the Minister of Education without actually even having to consult with Cabinet or the Premier. He can take over a board on 14 days notice. He can mandate what transpires in a board. And, you know, whether it's tied to the elimination of trustees, which he is also talking about, is not unclear at this point. But theoretically, if it passes in its current state, he could take over any board in the province with 14 days notice. I am aware, and I'm sure you've heard, that there are a number of boards in this province that have been put under supervision for various reasons. I was recently at the OPSPA Board of Directors meeting last Friday and Saturday, where there's a lot of talk of the challenges for special education students related to in those boards, lack of consultation with parents in those boards, some significant challenges for parents when they are trying to communicate with the boards because they can no longer reach out to a trustee. Which is their voice at the table. Trustees cannot advocate for those students. So there is some significant challenges across the province and some not so positive feedback. So people are concerned. It is has the potential to significantly set back some of the significant progress that has been made, and some of the consultation pieces that are currently in place. And so, in the hands of the ministry and in the boards that they've taken over, they put the power in the hands of the supervisors, and the supervisors, many of them have no background in education. Some are lawyers, and so it is a problematic piece, and there is a lot of discussion taking place and a lot of media around it. So, we're waiting to see what transpires as the House comes back. So thank you, everyone. Happy to answer any questions if you have any questions for me.
Thank you very much, Trustee Lloyd. Chair Powell, I just wanted to give you a chance to weigh in there. Did you have anything to share with us, or any? It's a trustee thing, so I figured I should come to you.
No, I don't think I could trump Jody Lloyd's, Trustee Lloyd's position on this. So no, that's fine. Thank you, Trustee Lloyd.
All right, thank you very much. I'm just going to add very quickly. I've known many of you on this committee for quite a while, from before I was a trustee. I've been advocating for special education and been a part of the board as a parent volunteer and advocate for many years, and that brought me to the trustee role, which I greatly value. And it would be very upsetting to me if in a couple months from now, you guys showed up at this meeting and us as trustees were no longer here, and we no longer had that voice. And I think it is a very important voice, especially in special education. I think our role is vital here. So thank you, Kevin, for bringing that up, because I think it is a very important discussion to have. And I do think that SEAC's voice and opinion on this matter will really count for something. I think trustees speaking up, and I know Trustee Lloyd and I have talked about this, trustees speaking up and saying, we're important, we need to be here, doesn't have the same effect as the people that we work with and that are affected by trustees that may be giving their opinion on the situation as well. So like I said, thank you very much, Kevin, for bringing that up. Does anyone have any questions? Like we said, Trustee Lloyd is our OPSPA rep and a very experienced trustee. I'm sure she can answer any questions for you. Does anyone have anything they would like to know? Okay, everyone's just digesting. Got to read this Bill 33, right? Wonderful. Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much for the discussion. I appreciate that. Any other matters at this time? Okay, not seeing any. All right, so then that would take us to, do we have any notice of motion for next meeting? Not seeing any. And all right, so then that would take us to adjournment. Do I have a mover to adjourn us for this evening? Kristen, second by Kevin. Thank you very much. All those in favor? And that carries. Thank you very much. All right, so our next meeting will be November the 10th, and we will be online at 6 p.m. Thank you very much, everyone. Enjoy the beautiful evening.